happening. It's actually happening. Welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Shelves. Today, as you can see in the corner of the screen, we have a very exciting book. Very exciting, very long awaited book. Probably my most anticipated read of this entire year. Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I cannot even tell you how excited. I also feel kind of nervous going into this, I'm not gonna lie. And I have very mixed feelings about it being the last book in the series. It makes me so sad. I mean, I know there is a novella coming as well. There's a second novella coming. But this is the last that we're gonna have, really, of Peyton and Kai. And that just makes me feel all types of way, honestly. But the day is finally here. It's finally release day. I'm literally talking to you on release day, and I made sure that I wasn't in the middle of a book so that we could start this straight away. I can't believe that it's actually in my hands, like it's actually physically here. Like, what? And I didn't realise how stunning this hardback was going to be, and I don't know why I didn't even think about it. I also have the hardcover of Powerless, and that one's stunning as well, but I just didn't think about it. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised because look how stunning. Look how stunning with the baby pink and the silver foiling, and then on the back it says "Forever My Undoing." Stop it, literally stop it. And then we also have a pink map, and this map looks different to the other map, and I'm trying to work out why, but it looks so different to me, and I swear some of these places I haven't heard of. And then the actual dust jacket has some character art on there. We have Peyton with her short hair, and I think this is Kai. Yeah, must be. Very exciting, very exciting. I also got a matching bookmark with it as well, which I love how it says betrothed, betrayed, destined for each other? Question mark? What do we mean, question mark? What do we mean? I do just want to say here before we get into the reading vlog and start reading this book, even though this is a no spoiler reading vlog, I'm gonna try my hardest to keep it a no spoiler reading vlog. I do just want to remind everybody that this is the third and final one in a series, and it's harder to talk about those kind of books without giving any spoilers whatsoever. So I do just want to preface that here. But if I'm going to go into detail about anything, I will always give a warning that I'm about to, and I will put a timestamp where to jump to if you want no spoilers whatsoever. I'm so excited. I can't even speak. I can't even speak. I'm literally about to go start this right now. Right this second. I literally can't get over how stunning this edition is. Stunning. Why am I low-key not ready? Why am I not ready? I need to read that prologue again. I feel like there was a lot to take in. It's time for our first little Fearless update. I'm about 110 pages in, I want to say. Yeah, 110 pages in. That's how far I got up to yesterday, which was my first day of reading it. But I thought I'd do a little check-in with how I'm finding it within the first 100 pages. And thoughts so far. Okay, first of all, I'm really happy to be back with Peyton and Kai. We know by now how much I absolutely love them, and the banter between them, top tier. I don't know what it was about this, and I don't know whether it's just a me thing. It probably is, but I feel like it took me longer to actually get into this one. I felt like I was kind of stumbling over the words. That's what it felt like. But I am kind of thinking that's probably just a me thing. So it's not really that big of a deal. I did find that there was a lot of kind of going over the other two books in the series and like what had happened. And it felt a bit like repetitive. It felt like she was kind of repeating the same things in different ways, but it was the same message at the end of the day. And I know that we have to have some sort of recap of the other two books and like what's happened and everything. I did find it a little bit on the repetitive side, but that's kind of a minor thing because once we'd got through that, it's been very fast paced since then. I think Lauren Roberts does dialogue so well. It just really flows and I can read that so quickly. It's like I don't even have to think about it, I just understand what's going on. So I think she does that really, really well. We've also had a new point of view, which I did know that a new point of view was coming and I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it because I'd seen in one of the interviews that Lauren Roberts had actually mentioned it and that it might feel a little bit different. I was sat here really delusional, hoping that it would be Mac. I love Mac, okay? Mac as in Adina's Mac from Powerful. I just adore him. I adore him. And I know that when she wrote Powerless and Reckless, she actually wrote those one after another and she didn't even know that Mac existed because she hadn't planned to do a novella. But then when she planned to do the novella, she obviously created Mac as a character, but by then Reckless was already written, even though Powerful comes between Powerless and Reckless. So I understand why he wasn't in Reckless, but I'm so hoping that he's in Fearless. I'm so hoping that he is. I also really like the mention of Adina because I feel like that is something that from my memory was kind of overlooked in Reckless because Payden was literally on the run. I feel like she didn't really have time to think about Adina as much as I kind of anticipate that she would. But this one, she is very much thinking about Adina and is very much carrying that weight with her, which I feel like she wasn't as much in Reckless. But I'm glad that that's happening in this one because I love Adina and I love Payden and Adina. But anyway, I kind of got sidetracked then. Back to the point of view that it actually is. I kind of don't want to say, but I feel like I'm going to kind of have to because I can't really talk about it otherwise. So it's not really a spoiler, but if you kind of want to go into it having no idea whose point of view it is, I'll put a little timestamp here of where you can skip to. But the point of view is from Kit and Kai's father, which we low-key hate him. We low-key hate him. But I think it's really interesting because I'm like, there must be so much more to this than I'm realising because we've only had one chapter so far in his point of view and I'm just so intrigued as to why she's chosen to write in his point of view. I'm nervous. That makes me nervous. But I did think that that was really interesting and kind of surprising as well because I did not see that coming. Even when I'd gone through who I thought the point of view might be from, that just never occurred to me. So, interesting. I wonder why she's done that. There's been kind of a turning point a couple chapters ago where I feel like the plot of this is really about to move forward and I know what the plot of this is going to be now, if that makes sense, like the structure of it. So I feel like hopefully I'll be able to get more into it. I don't know what happened to me at the start, I don't. I think it was just because it felt like a lot of recapping over the other books. I just didn't feel like we were in this book. And like in the plot of it and moving forward, that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and go and read some more. That's my little 100-page check-in. I am now about 234 pages in, to be exact. I'm on chapter 31, so I'm kind of nearly halfway through. I think halfway through is like 250 or 260, I want to say. I don't even want to look at the page count of this book because I did that when I first got it and I literally panicked myself because I don't want spoilers, but I think it's around 510 or 520 pages, somewhere around that. So I'm nearly halfway through and I have thoughts. Okay, first of all, I think I said this in my first update, but the banter between Payden and Kai never disappoints. Literally never disappoints. The way that they are together is so good and this book is no different. I even feel a bit like we've got more of it in this book. Which is probably not true based on Reckless and how they literally spent the whole book kind of together. There's just something in the air of this one with them two and the tension between them, and given the situation that they've been put in, there's just so much building up and so much unsaid between them. And like I said, it literally never misses. It never misses. Okay, the point of view that we talked about yesterday. I have some theories. I have some theories. I think we've had 2 or 3 chapters in that point of view, the point of view that's not Payton and Kai. I actually think that Kit and Kai aren't brothers, and I think that Payton is Kit's half sibling. And I think that she was the one that was given up and sent away because her dad isn't her real dad. And I think that Edric isn't actually Kai's dad, and that's why he's so like mean to him and treats him so differently to Kit. And also why Kit looks so much like his dad. And there's been a real thing about how they're opposites. They're opposites. And also a big emphasis on the fact that they're brothers, and at the core of everything, they're brothers. And I'm thinking, but are you? But are you though? And also the whole fact that Lenny calls her princess. I'm thinking, but is she actually? Is she actually a princess? Was that a little Easter egg? But I feel like that is kind of a crazy theory. Just because I feel like that's a lot of moving about with stuff that we already know and like the family history that we have learned. I feel like there's so much moving about today, but I wouldn't be mad if that was the case. I wouldn't be mad. It also would mean that Payton couldn't marry Kit because they're siblings. Crazy theory, but that's kind of what I'm thinking at the minute. I also think that there is something going on with Kit. I think there's something going on. I think he's got some tricks up his sleeve and I cannot work it out. I can't work out what he's planning, what he's doing, but something's changed. There's big emphasis on the fact that what actually changed in him and how has he become the way that he's behaving now. And I just cannot even think what he's planning, which makes me nervous, makes me scared. I have kind of small theories here and there, but none of them really have any depth to them. Like, I genuinely don't know what he's planning and what he's up to. And also Kai's perspective, he is so down bad. He is so down bad for Payton. I've literally read nothing like it in my life. And I also love that it's mutual because Payton's also like that about him, but there's just something about reading it in Kai's perspective, given what's happening and given the fact that he can't be with Payton at the minute. I'm like, oh my god, this man is so down bad. But yeah, I feel like that's all I can really say without giving any spoilers or anything. But they're my feelings at the minute. I like that we're kind of more into the plot now, and I feel like the story is really picking up and we're getting a bit more momentum. And the more I'm reading, the more crazy theories are going around in my head, and the more I'm like on the edge of my seat because I'm like, any minute now things are going to kick off. Like, twists and turns are potentially going to be happening. So from here on out, anything's possible, anything could happen. I'm also so scared of getting spoilers on TikTok. I'm so scared. I'm trying to stay off my phone as much as possible, but obviously I'm still posting every day on there. I'm trying not to be in my comments as much as I usually am, just because I don't want spoilers. I don't want spoilers. I don't want them. I'm so scared of it being ruined for me. I feel like I haven't been as active on there, just in my comment section and everything, but that's the reason why. If you've wondered that, that's the reason why. And I know that by now quite a few people would have finished this book as well, so I'm trying to stay off there. I'm trying my hardest. Literally every time I forget and then I go on, it's always people reading this book and I'm like, nope, 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 get off, get off. But I'm very excited to continue and I will give you an update probably within the next 100 pages or so, I want to say. When back. Stop it. I was so hoping that he'd make an appearance. This makes me so happy. That's not all we get from him, because I'm not ready for that to be it. I do have a slight theory about Mac. It's kind of a crazy theory. I do have a slight theory about him, but why do I get the impression that that is the last scene we have with him? That kind of makes me sad. crazy. This is actually crazy. I'm also not even believing it for a second, to be honest. I knew it. I knew it. Actually got me. Liza actually got me. I need a minute. I'm so silly. I feel like we need to talk about what's just happened. But obviously I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, so I will put the timestamp as always here so that you can skip, but this is your warning that there is about to be a big spoiler. A big spoiler. So please skip on. There is just something about Mac and Adina and their story that gets me every goddamn time. I don't know what it is, but those two as characters and like anything ever happening to them, it just gets me every time. Every time. And what's just happened is regarding Mac and oh I can't even. I just love him. I honestly think he is one of my favourite characters. Like, I just adore that man. I adore him. And I think he deserves so much better. I can completely see why what's happened has happened and everything, but it doesn't make it any less heartbreaking, because the whole reason is because he can live without Adina, and that's just... ugh. And he wanted to be reunited with her. I feel like I need a break for a bit. Oh my god. I don't know what it is about them, but it literally gets me every time. Like, even thinking about what happened to Adina, there's just something about the fact that I can't even say it. I can't even say it, which is ridiculous. I think there's just something about the fact that they broke her hands beforehand, which just really gets me, and I literally can't even think about that without crying. And also just how gentle she was, and oh my, I can't even think about her. I literally can't even think about her. I need a break. I think I need a break for a bit. I'm gonna go get a cup of tea. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack here. honestly, I think I've only got like 80 pages left, which seems crazy to me. So I think I will be finishing this today. At least I'm hoping so. I feel like I don't really have that much to say at the minute. Just the fact that I feel like it's all about to kick off. Like, we've learnt some things recently and I feel like we're building up to the big finale. That's what it really feels like. There are some things that I did kind of work out, or I had my suspicions about, that I was right about. And it's interesting because the reveal of those really makes me think about the first book differently. It kind of rearranges this whole story almost, which is really interesting how she's done that. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see how it's all going to pan out, because this is one of those where I genuinely have no idea how she's going to wrap it all up and like how things are going to sort themselves out. Like, I genuinely just have no idea what's going to happen, because I don't really have any theories at the minute. All my theories that I had have been revealed, or something along similar lines have been revealed. But I thought I'd do a little check-in here before I finish it, because like I said, I do think I will be finishing this today. I do only have 80 or so pages left. One thing that I have noticed is that Laura Roberts loves to use the word atop. Atop. And when you notice it, you literally see it on nearly every single page. And that is something that's made me giggle throughout this whole book, because I noticed it in Reckless as well. But this one is like on another level, I feel like. And she uses it literally every time instead of just saying on. She just always says atop, atop, atop. Once you notice it, you won't be able to stop noticing it now. So apologies for that. But yeah, I keep seeing on TikTok that people have finished this, or like people are doing reviews on it. But it's just so crazy to me that people know the ending. Like, people have already finished this book and they know how it all ends and how it wraps up and everything. And I want to be one of those people now. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need to know what happens. I need to know how it all ends. So hopefully after today, that'll be me as well. So far so good. I definitely have got more into it than I was at the start. I know at the start I said that it took me a bit longer to get into. I do feel like once we got, I think it was like just over at the 100-page mark, once we understood what the plot of this one was, from then on out, it kind of, the pace of it picks up and it feels very much like we're in this world and we're back in the plot. That's kind of continued up until the point that I'm at now. Just in case you wondered how I was finding the kind of pace of it and everything, I am a lot more into it now. So far so good, and I will get back to you with my final review and everything, which seems crazy for me to say. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. I finished Fearless. Let's talk about it. I have actually had a few days to kind of process what I was reading, sit with it for a bit, work out how I was feeling, and I'm ready to talk about it. I'm finally ready. Where do we even start? Where do we even start? Okay. I feel like, should we start with the ending, maybe? The ending in general terms, without spoiling anything, I will be talking about spoilers in a minute, but I will let you know before then. I feel quite content with how it ended and how everything kind of turned out. I think it's absolutely amazing that everything we knew from book one and everything we learned has basically been like flipped on its head. And I just find the way that she's done that so intriguing to me. It just really makes my perspective of that first book change, and like everything that you thought you knew changes. I do feel like I have a lot of questions, but I did see that Lauren Roberts said in one of her interviews that that was kind of intended, and she wanted us to have questions because not everything is explained in this book, which then leads me to more questions about what the novella is going to be about and who that's going to be centered around and how we're going to get all the answers to all the questions that we have. My overall kind of review on this book, as you might have seen in this reading vlog, I did find the first 100 or so pages a bit repetitive, not really much plot happening because we were just recapping what happened in the first 2 books, which I do feel like was necessary, but maybe not as much as it was done. But from then on, I do feel like it picked up a lot and that I was a lot more invested, and I had the same feeling with this one at that point that I did with the first 2. And then the last sort of 150 pages, crazy, absolute craziness. There were some things that happened that I did kind of see coming, but somehow it still surprised me. It still shocked me, and I was still kind of like, what on earth? What on earth? It's that thing again about everything you thought you knew from the first one just kind of being flipped, honestly. This is also one of her most poetically written books, I think. I have always found her writing to a certain extent to be quite poetic, but this one definitely, there was a lot of that in here, especially from Kai's point of view. Like, Kai's point of view was so pining and yearning, which we love, but I feel like sometimes the poeticness kind of lost what he was actually trying to say, because sometimes I feel like there was a whole paragraph of it when actually it would have been more effective maybe if there had just been like one line, if that makes sense. But that's like a minor thing, but I did definitely notice that this was a lot more sort of poetically written than her other books have been. My overall rating, I'm gonna do my rating now just so that anybody that doesn't want spoilers can leave the video. Even though I don't want you to, I want you to stay. But I also don't want to give you any spoilers, and I think it's just easier if I give you my rating now in case you want to know that. So for rating, I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. I was kind of undecided between 4 and a 4.5, but I think it probably is like a 4-star read. Still really solid. This whole series I just absolutely love, and I'm really happy with this as the last book of the series, if that makes sense. I can't wait to see what the novella is going to be about. I also heard her kind of hinting at potentially a prequel of some sort. The lighting has just gone very dark. But I did see something about her hinting about a prequel, which is very exciting. But that's all my thoughts that I can say without spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, leave the video now. I love you, but leave. This is your warning that I am about to talk about questions that I have and things that happen in this book for the people that have read it and want like my full in-depth thoughts and everything. So this is your spoiler warning to leave. Okay, spoiler time. The thing that makes me the saddest about this book is Mac. As we saw. I feel like I didn't really have any reaction to her fighting Kai because I just don't think I believed it. Like, I just didn't believe it at the time, and something felt really off to me about that whole scene, but I wasn't expecting it to be Mac. And when they said that there was like 1 of 3 wielders, I was like, no, please don't do this to me. I am kind of like, I'm happy that Mac is now reunited with Adina, because that is something that I thought at the end of Powerful. I did find it even more sad that they were separated, and even though I would never wish that upon Mac, there is some slight silver lining that they are together. But there is something about their story that I just feel for massively. So that was absolutely heartbreaking for me. Kit. I have never much liked Kit, and I know that that's probably going to be an unpopular opinion because I know that there was a team Kit and a team Kai at some point, and I also know that Kit is just a loved character as a side character, but I just have never quite liked him. So I actually wasn't that fussed. I mean, I was fussed with how it affected Kai and Payton, but I wasn't that fussed about kind of what happened to him. I mean, it is sad, and I do feel bad for him, just in the way of how he perceived himself in into that family and himself in regard to the king, and also what he felt like he had to do. I do feel bad for him in that respect, but I do feel like what on earth happened to him at the end? Like, he went crazy. I know that he was ill and he was taking the plague and everything, but I just think some things are kind of hard to look past, and the fact that he literally wanted to kill Payton, I'm a bit like, okay. Justified, but also not justified, if you know what I mean. Okay, Payton and Kai, with their happy ending, we love. I am so desperate to know what Kai and Payton's daughter's power is. I so want to know. I do also kind of appreciate the fact that it doesn't really matter what her power is, because that's kind of the whole point of the book. I am still really interested to know. I would love to know. Hi, in regard to the king situation, I have always had an inkling that Kai was just not a part of that family. I just always had that feeling. I have always thought that Kai and Mac were brothers. And I'm still wondering if they potentially are. And I'm wondering if we would ever find that out anyway. But that has always been something that's been on my mind. So that wasn't so much of a surprise. The whole thing with Callum though, I had my thoughts that Paden was actually a princess, but I hadn't quite worked out where she fit in. And the whole thing with Callum did surprise me. And that's kind of what I mean by it's rewritten what we thought originally in the first book. That was kind of a surprise, but did leave me with questions about Myra, Callum's daughter. Because is that actually Callum's daughter? And if so, does she know about Paden? Are they half sisters? Must be, surely. And did she know the whole time, was she helping Callum? Does she know who Callum is? Does she know anything about it? Like, I just have questions surrounding that, because I feel like she was briefly mentioned but then never again mentioned. Also, who the hell is Kai's dad? Who is Kai's dad? And why was that low-key never mentioned again? That makes me think that maybe the prequel is about Kai's parents, and if it's not about Kai's parents, then I think it's going to be about Blair. Maybe. Because what on earth? How did she survive? Did Lenny help her survive? Was there something going on between Blair and Lenny? What happened there? What was she doing in the castle the whole time that Paden was doing her trials and everything? What was she doing? Like, there's a lot of grey area around that. If you couldn't tell, I still have a lot of questions. I still have a lot of questions, but not necessarily in a bad way that's like a frustrating way, just in a way that I'm like, I wonder if we'll ever find out. And it does really make me think about what this novella is going to be about, and if we're going to get a prequel and what that's going to look like. And I just have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. I also don't know if this was just me, but I vaguely remember something happening in Reckless where she met up with Callum and maybe even Lenny. Like, it was people from the Resistance that had escaped, and they were like training ordinaries, because these ordinaries also actually did have some power of some sort. I remember so vividly something like that happening, and I feel like that was never mentioned again. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, but I swear that happened. I'm just jumping in here because I have been looking through Reckless to find the bit that I was on about, and it was Lenny that was like training them, and they met up with Lenny, and they call them partials or percentages. And it says that they're the outcome of elites and ordinaries, and some have more power than others. But like, what was the whole point of that whole thing in Reckless? What was the point of it? Were they kind of hinting that Paden could have a power, but then that was never revealed or anything? So I'm confused about that. I'm confused. They're kind of my ending thoughts on Fearless. I did really enjoy it. I'm really sad that it's over and to say bye to these characters. I mean, I know we do have a novella, possibly a prequel coming, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And this is the end of their story, pretty much. I really, really hope that you've enjoyed watching me read it. I know that it was a very anticipated read for a lot of us. I really hope that you've enjoyed this reading vlog. I would absolutely love to know your thoughts on this if you've read this, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying this long to the end of the video. If you're still here, as always, comment a little star emoji so that I know. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Fresh Off the Shelves, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.